On Twitter writing this, says this: the fact that Joe Biden refuses to answer if he would stack the Supreme Court is a frightening confirmation of the lengths Democrats will go to consolidate control over us and never lose power again, end quote. Joining us now to discuss that very tweet from the man himself is Guy Reschenthaler. He's a congressman from Pennsylvania. He's also a member of the House Judiciary and Foreign Affairs Committees and an Iraq War veteran. Thank you for your service. Congressman, always good to see you. I just had Congressman Gates on. He had his thoughts on packing the courts and the avoidance, if you will, of that question, even by Kamala Harris. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, this is nothing surprising from Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. They're trying to hide their far-left radical agenda. But if we just look at last night's debate, the fact that Joe Biden refused to answer whether or not he wants to pack the Supreme Court tells us a lot. He won't commit to it because he knows that if he commits to packing the court, it will show how radical his agenda truly is. And if that happens, he'll lose a lot of swing voters. If he says he doesn't want to pack the court, then he loses his far-left radical base. So Joe Biden is trying to ride two horses in this race, and it's really apparent when you look at the debate last night. But packing the Supreme Court, Sean, is just one of the radical ideas that Joe Biden will push if elected. He'll try to pack the Supreme Court. He's already said he wants to bring in D.C. As a state, which will take the Senate away, would destroy the balance in the Senate. And they're talking about doing away with the filibuster. So this is just one radical suggestion that I'm hearing from the radical left, not to mention doing away with the Electoral College. Some extremists don't even like the United States Senate because they feel that it's not proportional representation. So this is just the tip of the iceberg when we talk about their far-left radical agenda.
Judge Amy Coney Barrett was brought up last night, as you know. Biden pushed back on that, but by saying where she stands on the Affordable Care Act and the possibility of getting that repealed. I wanted to ask you about that because in response, you and a congressional delegation of several Pennsylvania Republicans blasted Senator Bob Casey about it and his decision to skip a sit-down with Justice Barrett, calling it an insult to Pennsylvanians. Can you explain that to me?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think these senators need to do their jobs. It's the president's job to nominate, and the Senate then confirms. The senators should be meeting with the nominee. Even if they don't intend to vote on the nominee, they should at least get a chance to meet with the nominee and have the nominee express their viewpoints and interview the nominee. It's just a matter of professionalism. But the fact that the Democrats are so focused on on policy issues shows that they have a lack of understanding and frankly, somewhat of a disdain for the judicial branch, because we as Republicans and conservatives we want judges that call balls and strikes. We want judges that will follow the black letter law, the original intent of the Constitution. That's what we're focused on. The far left and the Democrats want judicial activists, so they want to know policy positions from these nominees. That's completely off base. We don't need a super legislative branch in the Supreme Court. We need judges calling balls and strikes, interpreting the original intent of the framers in the Constitution.
All right, then let me ask you this. Do you feel Joe Biden should release his list of nominees? Why?
President Trump released his list of nominees during the last presidential cycle because it was important for people to see what kind of nominees the president planned to put forward. Joe Biden should do the same. He won't, though, because that list is going to be filled with a whole bunch of social justice warriors, individuals who will undermine the integrity of the court and will act as super legislators, not Supreme Court justices. I think that's a very important distinction between President Trump, who's been very transparent, and Joe Biden, who, again, is trying to hide his far-left radical agenda. And look, people might say Joe Biden is a moderate. Joe Biden is a Trojan horse. Last night, he was unable to distinguish his platform from the Green New Deal when it comes to energy. He was evading questions, and frankly, he was denying things that we know to be true, such as the allegations with Hunter Biden coming back from China with $1.5 billion. The fact that Hunter Biden had money coming in from Russian oligarchs.
Well, he called that untrue right there. He fact-checked himself, Joe Biden.
Well, Joe Biden, he engaged in what's called gaslighting, where he says something is untrue that he knows is true, and he says it over and over again. So we saw a lot of gaslighting last night.
Congressman, real quick before we go, who came out on top? Were you pleased with what you saw? Overline thoughts.
I think President Trump won the debate. If you looked at the Telemundo poll, the Spanish-speaking audience, They thought Trump won overwhelmingly, which doesn't bode well for Joe Biden. And let me just say this. A lot of Monday morning quarterbacks are trying to say that President Trump was somehow abrasive. If President Trump did not take that aggressive position, then the mainstream media and Joe Biden would have walked all over him. Look, I've been in debates, and as a conservative, if we don't call out opponents when they refuse to answer questions, when they blatantly speak untruths, no one else will do it. So President Trump was standing up for himself, and he was standing up for all of us in what the Democrats perceive as flyover country.
Great interview. Congressman Reschenthaler, good to see you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Sean.